Hey guys, so this is a quick video I'm going to make on arpeggios, playing arpeggios on the horn. I've got a few exercises that I've written out for myself, um, and I tend to do them pretty soon after doing some long note exercises, um, either arpeggios or moving on to chromatic exercises like the first Clark exercise. So those sorts of things. In a lot of ways, I think I consider those exercises to be sort of fancy long notes because the intervals between the notes are so, well, they're chromatic, so it's so close together that you're not really doing that much work with your embouchure. And especially when you practice those exercises in the lower and middle range, which is pretty much where they're written in the Clark examples. So in a lot of ways, those exercises, if you practice them correctly, are really sort of ways of staving off boredom in a long in a long note form essentially. So if you were playing the first one, starting on F sharp, it's essentially 6/8. If you play it for long enough, it's basically it's a fancy long note, and that's a good thing because on a very subtle level, when I played it now, I changed volume a bit from soft, which is where you really should practice it, to kind of loud. Probably too loud to practice that entire page of exercises. So when you practice them softly and practice them for as long as you can in a single breath, right? And okay, speed is important, but it's not the only goal. There's so much to be gained from those exercises in terms of very, very subtle development of your embouchure. Now, moving at that level chromatically, one semitone or one halftone at a time, that your embouchure learns to control the sound and the movement from one note to the next on a very subtle level, and that's, in my opinion, something that's disregarded too often in the development of horn technique, and probably technique on, I mean, it's a book of trumpet exercises, so it's probably true that it's disregarded across the spectrum. Not disregarded, but maybe not enough emphasis is placed on it. Okay, so I'm talking too much. I wanted to get into arpeggios as the second step after doing a proper long note warm-up. So I've got a couple exercises that I like to play myself that I've written out. So I'll give you a couple examples of that. Okay, this one's pretty straightforward, and the PDF of these will be attached to the Patreon page. Okay, so that's the first three lines. So obviously it starts in one key, like it starts in C major, and in the same line switches to A flat major. The next line is F major, switches to B flat, etc. So it just makes one modulation in each section. Okay, the other one that I wrote out, it's kind of a favorite of mine. Sorry, let me try that again. And then modulate. Okay, and obviously, you could do that in every key. I've written out in 3 keys, 4 keys, and in a way, these exercises that I've written out for myself, it's sort of arpeggios are arpeggios in a lot of ways. So, I wrote these out not to create a comprehensive, across every key. It's very easy to do in Sibelius if you wanted to. But in my case, when I use these as warm-ups before a gig or whatever, I play them in keys that I'm not really thinking about too much. I'm really concentrating on the arpeggio aspect of it, and not, wow, can I play this in F sharp major, etc. So so that's why I've only got it written out in 3 keys. And yeah. So then the cat invader. So there's sort of the logical conclusion, I guess, like, not necessarily as a warm-up, but once you've played through your standard, whatever they are, arpeggios, I really like the Bach cello suites for horn. I used to have, well, I still have some copies of the original arrangements for horns, which in some cases are really just, it's, what I've done is downloaded the Muse score. The Muse score community is pretty amazing. You can get XML files or MIDI files of a lot of stuff, and a good deal of the Bach cello suites are on there, obviously, in cello form, and you could download those as an XML file, take it in Sibelius, and if you just change the clef from bass to treble, it's immediately in the right range for the horn. So, it really wasn't, I can't remember the guy's name that did the original sort of transcriptions for horn, but, that's really pretty much all he did was change the clef. So, Bach cello suite, the prelude for suite number 4, is a great arpeggio exercise, and in a lot of ways, I regard the Bach cello suites, it's music, it's they're essentially etudes, I guess, for cello, but I work on them as technical exercises, and this particular one is a great example of, or extension of arpeggio work. I'll play a little bit of it for you. And it goes on, etc. So, as you can tell, I'm practicing this and playing this as an exercise and not so much as a piece of music. There's a lot of dynamics and stuff that I'm disregarding. Articulation I'm completely ignoring, really, from a cello point of view. So what I've done is tongue the first bar and slur the second, more or less throughout, at least the first page of this. And that, gives you the opportunity to tongue and slur all these same intervals one after the other, because each of them comes in a set of two. So yeah, so that's my take on some aspect of arpeggiated playing for the horn. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions.